Hello, this is Professor Marsh, and this is Accounting 220 at Newberry College in the spring of 2023. This is the replacement lecture for the last part of Chapter 3, and we're going to be talking about Section 3.5. So we've reviewed the quiz in class, and I'll be posting the homework suggested answers for Chapter 3. So I want you to be reading into Chapter 4 for next week, for this coming week, and to submit the quiz by Sunday night, and also or perhaps Monday night if the Wolf Den interruption continues. So in any event, I don't know when I'm going to be able to post this lecture based on what's going on with Wolf Den today, but just bear with me, and if we have to put back the due date of the quiz, we'll put it back to give you at least a day or so to complete it. So we'll see you in class on Monday, and sorry I missed on Friday. I am also going to have to go back to Charlotte, and so I'm going to miss Friday's class this week also. Hopefully it won't become a regular thing, but in any event, I'll post a lecture from wherever I happen to be on Friday of this coming week, and also for the last part of Chapter 4. So as we go into these next two chapters, Chapter 4 and 5, we're going to be looking at job costing and process costing. Job costing is the process of determining costs of manufacturing for a job shop, and process costing is the process or procedures of determining costing for a production line type manufacturing facility. So those are coming up over the next 2 weeks, and I hope you'll enjoy them. It's an important part of managerial accounting, and something that I think will give you some additional tools and techniques that will be useful to you as you go through your career in business and accounting. But let's go now. Let's turn back to Chapter 3 and do the last part of Chapter 3, and this is the Section 5 in Chapter 3. So go to Chapter 3.5, and we're going to look at margin of safety and operating leverage. And what we're going to see, and remember we looked at this in the in some of the certainly the operating leverage in the homework and the I'm sorry, not the homework, the quiz that you took, because there were some questions about operating leverage and also the effect on calculating profit. So if you look at margin of safety, that's margin of safety in dollars is just a dollar amount. It equals what's in this green bar. These equations that they have in your book, they put in the little green boxes, and those actually are usually the most important takeaways from the chapter. So if you learn that the margin of safety in dollars equals the total budgeted sales minus the break-even sales, that's your margin of safety. That's how many sales you have above where you break even, where your sales are sufficient to completely pay for not only the variable costs but also for your fixed costs. It's where sales equal total costs. And so if you have sales above that, you've already paid for your fixed costs, and so you're going to have a profit, which would be that excess, times your contribution margin. And so that's your margin of safety in total dollar amount, and you can see that discussed in some of the examples. And then the next green box is the margin of safety percentage, and that's the margin of safety divided by the total budget or actual sales dollars. And so there you go for that. That says that as long as the sales don't decrease by more than 32%, they will not be operating at or near the break-even point, and that is a very healthy margin if you've got a 32% margin there. And then when you go down into looking at the effect of operating leverage, then you see that operating leverage, the degree of operating leverage equals the contribution margin divided by the net operating income. And so your contribution margin divided by net operating income, that's the degree that you have of operating leverage. And in this example that they give you, then you have these two companies, Company A, which has operating leverage of 1.74 times, which is pretty strong, but Company B is even stronger, and it has operating leverage of 2.47 times. And so if you had a 10% increase in sales, then for Company A, its sales would increase by that 10% times 1.74, where they'd have a 17.4% increase in sales if it was a 10% increase in net operating income. But Company B, with a 10% increase in sales, would have an increase in net operating income of almost 25%. And so that's the power of operating leverage. And you can see what happens too. If you have a decrease, operating leverage works in both directions. And you can see that Company B, which has the potential to do much better with a small increase in sales, also can do much worse with a decrease in sales. So that what works to your benefit in one direction hurts you in the other direction, and so that's really all of what Section 3.5 is about. So I'll post the suggested answers, the ones that I have for the homework in Chapter 3, and you can take a look at those. I understand that as it was the case last year, I tried to change it, but apparently I changed it from one problem to the other, but I didn't change the problem with both problems it didn't have a prompt. So I think when I took out question 5 and made it 6, or 6 and made it 7, I've forgotten exactly which one it was, you ended up with a question that didn't have a prompt. So I'll address that in posting the homework as well. You can take a look at that and let me know what you think. But in any event, have a good weekend and keep up with your reading. We're moving very quickly into Chapter 4 for job costing, and just look forward to seeing you in class on Monday. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Bye-bye.